Welcome to the first anniversary of Autism 30. Within 365 days, we have now grown to be heard in 97 countries worldwide, and we are so appreciative to each and every one of you who tune in, and also those who volunteer their time to be guests on this show. We want to remind you to light it up blue tonight and to continue to send in your request of things you'd like to hear on our podcast by going to autism30.com and clicking the word contact. Let us all learn a little so we can help a lot. Now, let us tune back into the second part of the podcast from yesterday with Miss Janet Walmsley.
I'm an autism awareness angel, making sure my wings protect the different, the stranger than. I'm an autism awareness angel. It's good, cause I'm cool with the unique behavior. I'm an autism awareness angel. Will you accept me? Cause I accept you. I'm an autism awareness angel, cause the view from the spectrum is a better point of view.
So how long did it take you to write the book?
Well, this is a very interesting question, because when I wrote this book, it started in March of 2014. And then on July 2nd of 2014, I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Oh.
I had a double mastectomy and immediate breast reconstruction, so I was out of commission for about a month and a half. But Jenny and I had wanted to write this book together. We wanted it to be published together. We wanted it to come out at the same time. We got I did get a bit of an extension on the deadline, but you know what? I did the same with my breast cancer as I did with Jenny and her autism. I was positive, full speed ahead. Life is good. Life is beautiful. We're going to get this book done. It means so much to me. And I made it for deadline. And so that's an interesting question when you said that, because that's there's another thing I had to go through, but I've just always been a positive soul. And I know not everybody's like that, and I understand. I mean, wouldn't the world be boring if we were all the same? That's why I love autistic individuals. They're quirky and fun. But that's something that I've been like since I was little.
Which is wonderful. I mean, all the skills that you learned also with dealing with Jenny's situation. You are such a strong woman to face everything that you faced. I can't imagine writing a book, working, supporting your family. You have a son and a daughter, and dealing with breast cancer all at the same time. The strength and the positivity really make you the beautiful and vibrant person that you are. And I think really it's a testament to positive thinking that you're so joyous and such a it's a privilege to meet you and to hear your story.
Well, the feeling is definitely vice versa, Tally. I'll tell you that much. And I just wanted to mention, when you talked about, writing the book and reaching out to others outside the community, that's what I wanted to do, because I just wanted to show people that barriers can be broken, obstacles can be pushed aside, and one can attain the goals. And in bringing Jenny's life out, I did ask her, is it okay to do that? And she had explained to me she was scared at first, because it was her whole life being brought out into the open.
Of course.
But she did say to me, if it can make a difference, or if it can help one family, one individual, she says, then Mom, we've done our job, and hopefully it's warmed their hearts, and in turn it warms ours as well, to be there for someone else.
And we think exactly alike, because I that's why I created this podcast, because if I can help one person, then this whole experience and this podcast has been completely worth it.
I was going to say, well worth it, right, Tally? You and I, we got the same mindset.
That's exactly it. Now, how has autism changed your family?
Well, let's put it this way. When we first found out, it kind of flipped your life upside down, and your own life does go to the wayside to, a certain aspect, but that didn't matter to me. I just wanted to be there for my daughter. We've always been a close family.
Yes.
However, autism really did bring us closer. I had actually remarried, and Travis had met Jenny, although Travis is her dad. She met him when he was about 4. And this is a man who's been very kind, very loving, really understood Jenny and has loved her like his own. And I remember one thing he said to me. He says, "I feel privileged that Jenny let me into her world."
He seems like a beautiful man.
Yeah. So we feel like Travis, Chris, and I have always said that we've been blessed to encounter Jenny's journey and watch her tenacity of crushing down walls and ridicule to, climb up to that mountain peak and be high in the clouds, as I said. Yes, there were trials and tribulations we went through, ups and downs. However, you really found it became the respect you have for one another, to be there for one another, and also to truly listen.
Yes.
And Jenny changed our lives in a good way. Not that it was bad before, but it made it even better, stronger.
I agree. I mean, I'm speaking personally from my own experience. I know my husband and I are definitely closer. And I believe, although I don't know about other personal stories, but I believe we're stronger as a couple.
Yes, I do too.
Now,
Yeah.
can you please elaborate on your sentence, which I love, is autism is not a death sentence, but a richly deserved life sentence, and why you said it? I think it's fabulous.
It's so bizarre, isn't it? Well, I talked about the Options Institute in Sheffield, Massachusetts with the Kaufman family and about their son who had autism. And they had said that we should see it not as a curse, but as a gift. And it's a gift which challenges us to respond with enormous energy and dedication and love, and find a way to help that child to be there in the most loving, supporting, and facilitating possible ways that we can. So they said, as long as a child is alive, there is hope. So this is why, to say this is to show that this child deserves everything like another child. There
100%.
Right, there's hope. There's an affirming, joyful life sentence I found with Jenny. And I instilled in Jenny to believe in herself, to be confident in herself. And that when other people were telling her she couldn't do something, I said, yes, you could. And to believe in yourself, to trust not only in herself, but to trust in me. I'm there for you. I know. I remember she say, "Oh, I'll never pass grade 12. Oh, I'll never get into animation school. Oh, the book. No one's going to publish my book." And I kept saying to her, "Yes, you will. I believe in you. I trust in you, and trust in me." And there she passed grade 12 with honors and got scholarships. She was very much accepted into Vancouver Film School, which is a hard school to get into.
Yes, it is.
And then when she showed her book and herself to the publisher, they wanted her 110%. So it's follow those dreams. Have a full life ahead of you. It's there to be grabbed, and you justly deserve it. Your life isn't ending. It's only beginning. And what a fun and joyful ride it's going to be.
And I couldn't agree more, in the sense that some parents who say negative things to their children, I think the more positive encouragement you can give them, the better off that they'll be. And I like the adage, if you say one negative thing to a child, it takes 1,000 boys to recoup that one negative thing that's said. And this goes for typical children as well.
Exactly.
And I think that our children, because we live in a largely majority uneducated society, that our children need to hear positive things twice as much as the other, and not only because it's just because you have to say it. It's because they actually really deserve to hear those things, because what our children have to go through in comparison to what the typical childhood has to go through, what our children go through, they're incredible.
Well, this is so true, and this is what I mention to people. What an inspiration they are to us. Because when you think of the mountains and hills and things they had to climb, for Jenny, like the bullying she had to go through, and academically, to learn, she had to learn. I'm not saying that the typical child doesn't have to learn hard, but she even had to go even further with that. And I mean, I have her friends saying to me, "Wow, I've never seen a work ethic like Jenny." She says it's just unbelievable. So that was something that, brings force to people too. And you have to show your child, whether autism or not, you have to show that belief in them. You have to show that confidence you have in them. And it just, You hear of people. I have friends whose parents were not with them, and they're not autistic, and they said, it just always was in the back of my head that I couldn't do things. And they said, now reading your book, I said, I don't even have autism, and now I just want to go for it. So,
which is great, and I couldn't agree more. Now, what would you like to see in the future, and what societal improvements would you like to see out there?
Well, I'd really like to see more equality for autistic people in both the workforce and society, and not to be put in a corner or cast aside.
I couldn't agree more.
And this is especially for when autistic individuals become adults, like between that 18, 19 years old. I do know of a lot of parents, myself included, who worry, but when we've passed on or passed away, and I know that sounds morbid, but it's something to think about.
That's a common concern.
Yeah. Will their son or daughter be able to take care of themselves, or more so sufficient support and have a positive, safe future? And a parent should never have to feel like this. They really shouldn't. So in a nutshell, I want all walks of life and society to come outside of the stigma box of autism and see the rainbows of colors with it. And this includes the general public. It includes government. It includes medical professionals, teachers and school boards, daycare providers, retail, and other autistic organizations.
Absolutely, and I hear you wholeheartedly and agree. Now, can you please inform our audience about some of the absurd beliefs and statements that you've heard others say about autism?
Well, people are very critical.
Yes.
Of when they see an autistic individual and their demeanor, like if they're having a fit or, they're just a little bit more outspoken, and they're very quick to judge from that. And they say things like, how can one even change with this type of being or person? And how can they ever be an asset to society? And they've already condemned the person and the individual before they truly even know who they're about, and what a support and belief that they should have in them. Like, I was told from a medical professional, as I said, not to expect much from Jenny and to put her in a corner. And in saying this, I heard this a few months ago, and actually it was my publisher who sent me this information. And it was about a teenage girl in the States, and her parents were flying back home. And at a certain time of day, she has this warm meal that her parents always make for her. And on the plane, it wasn't there. So she started to have a bit of a meltdown and got a bit loud. The stewardess was not impressed. She was not kind. She was not loving. She reported it saying, "Oh, we've got a big disturbance. This young teenager is terrible." And then all the mother would ask for is if we could please just have a warm meal because she'll settle her down because she's used to having it at this time. So reluctantly, the stewardess did do it, and they gave her something, and then she was fine. She started to settle down. But in the interim, the stewardess was still talking badly of this teenager and the family.
That's really unprofessional.
Well, guess what they did? They did an emergency stop with the plane and had the family and the daughter get off the plane. And some of the other people that were on the plane said, it really wasn't that bad of a disturbance. It really wasn't something to make everybody, especially this family, have to go through this. And, I'm thinking, how many times have I been on a plane, and even with my own children when they were young, and they've had a meltdown, or, they're not autistic, or you hear babies screaming, or you hear 2-year-olds screaming, running up and down the thing. I mean, they can cause just as much as disturbance, but you don't see them stopping the plane saying, get that child and their family off the plane. To me, it just shows that there's still that stigma, there's still that disrespect for autistic families and their children. And
unfortunately, your story isn't an uncommon one, because a friend of mine in Europe was with her child as well, and they were at their stopover, their layover.
Yes.
The airline decided to leave them there, that they were no longer welcome on the oncoming flight. So this isn't an uncommon story, God. And you hear stories about this in the media over and over again. And I think professionals out there, like flight attendants, really do need to be educated, because I really do think it's not mean-spirited. It's just gross ignorance and education.
Yes.
By these people, and I couldn't agree more. And it's really unfortunate that happens.
Yes, it really is.
Now, why do you believe autism is a gift?
Oh gosh, this is for many reasons. I mean, what a gift, and how lucky we were as a family and the people that were around my daughter to see her journey and see her evolve and see all the changes. Like, not too long ago, we met a woman who hadn't seen Jenny since she was little, and she saw, how Jenny was, and she says, "Oh my God, it's a miracle. Like, the difference is just amazing," because she remembers her at that low-functioning 3-year-old, and we had done media and newspaper articles back home in Vernon, where Jenny was, where we lived for 17 years, and people were just so taken by her story and everything she had been through, with the bullying and that we mentioned, to where she is, to now. And I also saw other gifts of autism when I met Leonora from ANCA, the Naturally Autistic group. And she had asked me to do the commercial for them, being an actress. And she also asked me if I'd red carpet host their red carpet, which I love to do, and also be host for their events. And in doing this, Jenny, actually, they asked us to be keynote speakers, and we did our books every day and signed and sold them. So that was really nice. But for us to see all these other talented, remarkable, loving, kind, cool, autistic individuals, and the support and the unconditional love from their family. I mean, what a gift for us to see that, and what a gift each family has to see from what's happening with their children. I mean, the challenges for an autistic person, I feel, boy, we missed out, because that's a gift. It gives these individuals the motivation, the drive, and the energy to make something of themselves and go against the grain of what people are saying, and to inspire, because really, in turn, it really makes all of us look at ourselves individually and say, if they can do it, what is stopping us? What is stopping us? So what a
Yes.
eye-opening and beautiful gift that these individuals are extending to us.
And I think you've brought out a really good point as well, is that I know since I've been in the autism community for the past 9 years, the people that I've met in the autism community have just been, warm, they've been fabulous, and they've been accepting, and to be in such an inclusive society of people. I actually sometimes feel sorry for my typical friends that aren't exposed to the parents and the people that I've met.
The community, yeah.
The community is just such a rich one, and I think parents that might be excluding their children from the diagnosis, or whatever their fears are, if they just open up their minds and come into this community, you will truly find a wonderful group of people that really I feel truly blessed to have encountered.
And I totally agree, because I remember meeting one woman, this was years ago, and she was standing in front of me at a Shoppers, and she was just really putting down her autistic son, and it really hurt. It was hurting me, and I thought, okay,
it hurts
maybe
me just to hear it.
Yeah, and then I thought, okay, Janet, go the other mind frame. Maybe this poor woman hasn't had the help, or maybe she's just. And when I did try to talk to her, she just didn't want anything of it. She just saw it as negative. She didn't see a light. She didn't see a hope. And I think you're really not only like for yourself, but number one for your child. You're really losing out on such a beautiful way of life in the autistic community when you do have an autistic child, or you're an autistic yourself.
No, absolutely. Now, you're a performing artist, so how's your experience in performing arts helped you reach your daughter?
Well, I think Jenny, sometimes we laugh, because I've always been a doer, a goer. I always think sometimes I need to clone myself, because when I was in school, like when Jenny looks at my yearbook, she goes, "My gosh, you're in everything." Because I like to cheerlead, I like to be in sports, I was in drama, I was singing, and I was a mom. I think what I showed Jenny, I was a mom and actually an individual who never gave up. I remained as positive as humanly possible, and even through adversity, I picked myself up and I forge on. I've always said to Jenny, you can learn from your mistakes, and that something positive can come out of it. To believe in yourself, like we talked about, to be confident in yourself without being cocky, because there is a difference. And for example, I came back into acting at 41 years old. I did it when I was, young in my teens, and I had people looking at me going, like, kind of give me funny looks and go, "What is wrong with you? Were you going through some sort of menopause old lady crisis?" And I thought, Well, why not? Why can't? Just because I'm older, or just because is that something that means I can't follow my dreams? So this was the exact same thing with writing my book. I'd never wrote a book before, but I had something to say, and I thought it would give the world a whole different outlook on autism and a family and just on autism itself. And I think from Jenny watching this, she felt, hey, if my mom can do it and go against all odds, why can't I? And I think about this because when I found out Jenny was accepted to Vancouver Film School for animation, she didn't really want me to. She says, "You open it and you can tell me. I don't care if I'm at school or I'm home. You just tell me." So when we did get it, I was at home alone and I opened it up and found out she got in. I was screaming so loud, I think the neighbors thought I was getting murdered or something. So I goes running to the store. I buy her this big helium balloon with congrats and all these.
What a great parent.
Yeah, blue balloons. And I got her a card and I go running to the school and I go, and they knew me and they go, can I just go into Jenny's class and just tell her what's happened? And they said, sure, because they were excited for her too. So she was in video class. So the room was all dark and I knocks on the door, no answer. Knocks on the door again. The teacher said, come in. And it's all dark and I'm trying to find her. I go, hi, I'm Jenny's mom. If I could just have a minute, I have to tell her something. He goes, I'm bringing up how I'm in drama. So I goes running up and of course she's at the very front. She couldn't be at the back. So I'm running with the balloons and the card and the acceptance letter. And I said, Jenny, you got into animation school. I'm so happy and proud of you. And I'm jumping up and down. And Jenny's face just went, what? What's happening here? What's going on? And Jenny's friend Sierra was by and says, Jenny, you got into animation. You got into Vancouver Film School. And Jenny was just kind of looking at me. And then I went, okay, I realize you have a class. I said, Jenny, I'm so happy for you. We're going to go out for a congrats supper. And I just said, I love you. Bye. And I just went out of there. And Jenny said to me afterwards, it was like this, whoosh and whoosh. And she says, and then she said, was that my mom? Did I get accepted into Vancouver Film School? So she knows what her mom is like. Although some people say to us, are you really mother and daughter? Even though we look alike. But Jenny is very kind of quiet and shy and calmer. And then now I'm loud and I'm just, So it's.
But that sounds great. Oh, that sounds so wonderful. I mean, for you to be so enjoying the celebration of being accepted to the film school, because it is a difficult school to get into.
Very difficult. Very difficult.
What proud joy, and the fact that you're able to express it to me sounds wonderful. And what a fabulous, your daughter must have a very fun life being with you, because to me that just sounds wonderful.
Well, she does have a fun life, except when I go through my menopausal moments, then she goes, nobody would want to live with you, Mama.
Well, I think all of us that are hitting that point, wink, wink, nudge, I'm not going to say anything. Now, I know I've asked you a bunch of questions, but are there any final thoughts that you would like to tell our audience that, I may have missed?
Well, just there's a couple things, and I'll make it short and sweet if I can, because I like to talk. I just want to commend Jenny, number one. I just always say how proud I am of her, but I'm more so happy for her and where her life is going. I mean, kudos to you, Jenny, for trooping through the trenches and reaching for the stars, especially with all the academic and social walls you were up against. It was a lot for you to handle. However, you knew what you wanted. She went after it. And I talked about the dream team.
Yes.
But actually, number one, Jenny's on the top of that dream team. I just wanted to get my book because there's something in there from Lisa Balcom. And Lisa was Jenny's transition caseworker from elementary school to high school. And there's just a couple things she said that always resonated with me and always put a smile on my face.
Absolutely.
Lisa had been told Jenny came with a label. And though she agreed that Jenny didn't talk much, she maintained that Jenny listened very well. Lisa said when Jenny spoke, she spoke with purpose and wisdom, choosing her words carefully. She also said that Jenny took a different path, not the one expected. She would choose her path carefully, always keeping her final destination in mind. And even when the path appeared to be too steep or treacherous, Jenny forged on. And this is this perspective that Lisa shared about Jenny, and one that is my favorite. She thought that the label should have said, "The best is yet to come." Lisa added that she was very thankful to have known Jenny, and that Jenny reminded her every day that, I'll try to do this without crying. A story is not written until the author writes it. And Jenny is a great writer.
That's beautiful. That is really lovely.
It's just always touched my heart. And in a fun sense, it's kind of the pun because Jenny's last name is Story.
That's beautiful. Gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, now to gather myself and to my final question. What would you like the world to know about autism?
Well, autism is precious, and life is precious, and life is short. And for autistic children, we need to give them the chance. We need to give them the hope. And I stress to parents again about the early intervention, even if it's not in your character, to be assertive and grab every opportunity and support you can for your child. Dig deep. You know the saying in Forrest Gump, life is like a box of chocolates?
Yes.
Let the sweet taste of autistic individuals be a favorite choice from that box for everyone. Give them a chance. Give them a taste. For parents, and this is something I learned from the Options Institute too, allow your child to be his or her own teacher, as well as be your teacher. Be a parent's teacher and what you can learn from them and how you can be inspired from them and shine them out to the world. Autism should be looked at in an entirely different way by the world. Not seen as incurable, not seen as debilitating, however, be looked at it as a blessing for our society, and that the things that we can learn from them and the things that can be inspired for our own lives, give autism the respect, give it the embrace that they richly deserve. Open up your hearts, your minds for these individuals and their families. Don't just say you will. Do it.
I couldn't have said it any better myself, and I absolutely agree. And I hope everybody out there that's listening really takes heart in what you've said. That's absolutely beautiful.
And thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed this, and your comments that you're saying too. Everybody out there can see, and I personally see in meeting you, your love for your child, your love for the autistic community, and you want to bond with everyone as well and show the light of what autism really is.
Oh, thank you for those kind words. That really touched me. And
I say it like I see it.
and it was a real honor and pleasure meeting you. And I hope everybody out there is listening and learning an awful lot today. So I really want to thank you, Janet, for being with us today. And don't forget to go to autism30.com for information about how to order her wonderful book, The Autistic Author and Animator, A Mother's View of a Daughter's Triumph. Once you're on our webpage, we also want to remind you to subscribe and join our mailing list to receive information about upcoming podcasts and information. And if you're listening to us on iTunes, don't forget to write a review. And like us and join us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Google+. And don't forget to send in your questions. If you want to ask our parent panel or myself questions, please send us an email and we'd love to address and answer them. Once again, thank you for joining us. We hope you've enjoyed this special 2-part podcast for Autism Awareness Month. We at Autism 30 would like to wish everyone out there a happy Autism Awareness Day. Don't forget to light it up blue and to tune in on April 15th for our next podcast. This is Tally, once again telling you to live in love.
Hey yo, I'm an autism awareness angel, making sure my wings protect the different, the stranger than. I'm an autism awareness angel. It's good, cause I'm cool with the unique behavior. I'm an autism awareness angel. Will you accept me? Cause I accept you. I'm an autism awareness angel, cause the view from the spectrum is a better point of view.